Fans and foes of Elon Musk alike know the controversial figure for his bold claims and risky investments. One seemingly certain bet, the growth of electric vehicles, has taken another turn with his latest proclamation though. Musk says Tesla will be the second largest semi-brand in America by 2024, and he even advised President Biden to buy a Tesla. How is this all connected? Watch till the end to find out. First off, Tesla has a semi? Say what now? Yep, that's right, they do. Those not up on their commercial automotive news may not know that after announcing it way back in 2017, the electric car and energy company Tesla has finally delivered its very first fully functional Tesla semi-truck to their first customer, PepsiCo. They'll soon deliver more than Fritos and sodas, however, because the sky-high price of oil makes diesel trucking an increasingly dangerous business for investors. Compared with your average large corporation in America, they are running a razor-thin margin. Any added cost cuts heavily into profits. And any boon, conversely, puts those numbers sky high for the beneficiaries. These new trucks require comparatively little energy per mile traveled when weighed against other Class 8 semi-trucks they will be competing against. Of course, if oil prices return to the lower prices of pre-war, pre-COVID times, that equation will change drastically. But Musk is saying he'll have the second largest semi-brand by 2024. So what does he know that we don't? Let's get to it. What did Elon Musk say on the third quarter earnings call? Speaking candidly to investors, the wealthy self-styled technologist spoke about his intention to ramp up production throughout the next year. They only delivered one semi this year, 3 years after they were supposed to begin delivering the semis way back in 2019 before COVID got in the way and complicated supply chain considerations. They're talking about jumping to the number 2 slot in a crowded industry in a very short time span, and they well might. Musk says he felt it was common knowledge by now in such circles that production would take about a year to ramp up. They're intent on delivering 50,000 semis in 2024. That means 2023 will be more of an onlining year for the company. Automotive production, regulation navigation, and continuing support agreements are very complicated. That's before you need to throw down a network of charging stations and coordinate with third parties and wait for the market for EVs to fill out yet more infrastructure in the gaps you're not presently filling. Musk was shy about the pricing. Pepsi put in another order for 100 shortly after they were announced and got the very first one ever delivered, possibly the only one delivered to date. It's likely they got an early bird pre-order price discount they did not want to announce in case others get jealous and demand a lowering of the cost. But given the promised thousands of dollars in savings over competitors, they could charge a pretty penny without much issue. For reference, Class 8 semi-trucks from the 3 leading companies cost between $125,000 and $150,000 apiece. Even if they ran $200,000, these vehicles stay on the road so long that a few thousand in savings a year could be math that works out favorably in the eyes of long-haul investors. So then, how does Tesla stack up against the market Elon is claiming they'll corner? Bold claims are common from Musk, and longtime Elon watchers may rightfully have some skepticism. How likely is this prediction to come true? Well, let's break down the math, shall we? If Tesla wants to build 50,000 Teslas in 2024, we can assume they think they can actually sell that many trucks. They got 100 back orders from Pepsi they've just ticked down to 99 pending on, so that's a start, but they'll need a lot more buyers across all price range and corporation sizes to make this work out. 2019 sales data shows that in the biggest Class 8 truck sale year in recent history, Freightliner led with just over 100,000 sales on their Class 8 trucks. They're aiming to reach 50% of this titan in just a year or two's time. Kenworth and Peterbilt, significant players in the industry, sold about 42,000 trucks. So Musk's math is simple. He thinks he can beat out Kenworth and Peterbilt by 2024. Even if he wanted the 4th place spot, that was International with 37,000 sales. Behind them was Volvo Trucks with about 25,000. So Musk really is going to need to muster his promised 50,000 figure if he wants to dominate the market, considering it's not like these truck manufacturers haven't been selling in prior years and have a backlog of vehicles that are purchased, sold, and repurchased regularly. They will need to take a bite out of the industry with a clean lead on sales to improve their market standing so well as to come in 2nd place. Still, Musk's shooting more for the moon than Mars here. To use a SpaceX analogy, he knows he cannot overtake the 100,000 figure so early in the race. Still, he's planning to explode out of the starting block on this race for dominance in the heavy rig trucking arena. It's worth noting that Class 8 includes vehicles like tractor-trailers, but also cement trucks and high-capacity dump trucks, and he's planning to make 50,000 purely semi-trucks. So if we're going semi-only, he may beat people out doing more business in the Class 8 vehicle sector, but incorporating their full portfolio. What are these competitors looking like? These heavyweight titans of industry have been in the automotive logistics trade for decades and have storied histories and big financial backers with patience and capital to burn behind them. This forms up like a boxing movie with Tesla as the young bantamweight thinking to take on the heavyweight reigning champions who are older but wiser. Most major customers for big rigs did not know the precise price of the Tesla Semi and have yet to see real-world success on the road with only marketing numbers to go by. The first Pepsi truck will have a lot to prove for Tesla and the world if they are to make such a meteoric rise. Talk about training montage time. They'll need to big rig monster truck rally over a ton of training bags and deliver fountain loads of Pepsi and chips to keep this whole operation looking as classy as promised. Some have reason to doubt that Musk's device can do everything it promises, and even if we believe everything he has to say, the 500-mile average operational range is a quarter of the industry standard to 1,000 miles the diesel-burning competitors standardly achieve. The real-world driving range, vehicle weight, and recharge times are not very transparent or well-developed statistics due to a lack of commercial use. Meanwhile, all competitors are necessarily tried, tested, and true, favored by those in trucking because you need depending hardware or you're risking at the very least tens of thousands of dollars in delays, if not the very real potential of lost human life due to mechanical failing. Well then, what could change the game? Right now, the major pendulum swinging on this whole affair is the price of gas. Tesla has handled hardware issues, software glitches, and large-scale recalls before. They can surmount a lot of obstacles as Musk is very good at generating capital for his ventures and shaking up his company to retool for the task at hand. While they're better known for sports cars, the latest push is clearly on the Semi. Whatever anyone has to say about the Cybertruck either way. These long-haul vehicles will be a great source of revenue for the company and make them a logistics staple lots of other companies look to for filling an important niche if all goes to plan. So Musk is going to do this like he does SpaceX, ensure he's needed. Their government contracts and certain private services were key. Here, IT is all about the free market, baby, but that market is the same thing that might pendulum swing back and guillotine his hopes and dreams heads off. Oil is the make-or-break deal. If major large-scale fracking resumes in the United States of America, the price of oil can at least be normalized, if not brought back down in pre-pandemic lows. The math on fracking is fairly simple. Below X many dollars per barrel, as set by inflation, you do not bother fracking and tear down your fracking operations. Mothball the oil derrick workers and shutter your drilling technology. When the price per barrel exceeds X, you hire on a load of gold-collar workers and roll your rigs back out, possibly incorporating a new company. Corporations like Patterson can appear and disappear with new names and coats of paint whenever the time comes. Similarly, if the war in Ukraine is speedily resolved or reaches a ceasefire that permits the resumption of normal economic activity with Russia and Ukraine, much will be done to alleviate the price of oil and gas alike, not to mention crops sometimes used in biodiesel. After that, we have to consider OPEC, normally a roundtable club representing all oil exporters, but in reality, a clique headed up primarily by Saudi Arabia. They wield oil price cap agreements like a sickle to wick down the competition, primarily foreign oil ventures like fracking or deep-sea oil drilling that imperil the status quo. They can dip below the X figure previously mentioned to put those companies out of business, then raise it again when it's time to profiteer more. Musk will benefit the more chaos and antagonist there is internationally because it will drive greater energy self-sufficiency demands across the globe. Alternatives to fuel will also continue to be so attractive they get everyone building and buying EVs, which will keep companies pumping out more and more charging stations until they're just as ubiquitous as, if not always tied to, gas stations. Lastly, why did Elon tell Joe Biden to buy a Tesla? Biden recently announced plans to construct 500,000 EV charging stations and celebrated Ford and GM for building more EVs. Tesla was not mentioned despite their early lead in the EV space, despite an earlier shout-out by the president. Musk thinks his heavy investment in the space and longer range of Teslas makes them no-brainer choices and thinks the president should get on message and on board. That's all for now, Motorheads. Like and subscribe your way into first place in the YouTube market so we can keep giving you awesome content.